Hello students, welcome to Quest Academy. In today's session, we shall be discussing about the summary of the lesson in the Kingdom of Fools written by A.K. Ramanujan, which is taken from your English NCERT Moments book for grade 9th. Let's talk about the author first. A.K. Ramanujan was an Indian poet and a scholar who wrote both in English and Kannada. Ramanujan was a poet, a scholar, a professor, a philologist, a folklorist, a translator, and also a playwright. He taught in many universities in South India and joined the Chicago University in 1962. In 1976, he was awarded the Padma Shri by the Government of India. He was also awarded the Sahitya Akademi Award posthumously in 1999. In the Kingdom of Fools is a short folk tale from Ramanujan's book Folk Tales from India. In the Kingdom of Fools, both the king and his minister were idiots. They did not want to run things like other kings do. So they ordered that everyone should be awake at night, work in their fields, and run other businesses and go to bed when the sun came up. Those who disobeyed were punished with death. One day, a sage and his disciple came to the kingdom. They were surprised to see that all the people were sleeping during the day, and as the day ended, they came out of their houses for work and other activities. As they both were hungry, they decided to buy something to eat. Their surprise was double to see that all the food items were of the same cost, a single dudu. The sage realized that it was a kingdom of fools and told his disciple that they should immediately leave the place. But the disciple was so fascinated by the place that he did not leave with his guru. He was happy to stay there and enjoy the cheap food. One day, a man approached the king for justice. He claimed that he was the brother of a person who was following their ancient trade of theft. During the theft, the wall of the rich merchant's house fell on him and he died. He asked the king to get him compensated. As the king was foolish, he did not analyze that the man was committing a crime. On the contrary, he told the merchant that he would be punished for having murdered the man who burgled his house. But the merchant put the blame on the bricklayer who had built the wall. The bricklayer was called into the king's court. He pleaded to punish the young girl who distracted his attention by going up and down the street all day with her anklets jingling. The girl was now an old woman and was brought to the king's court. She told it was not her fault that the bricklayer built a weak wall. In fact, she blamed the goldsmith whom she had given some gold to make jewelry for her. But as he had delayed the work, she had to walk up and down to his house several times. Now the goldsmith was summoned into the court. After hearing the accusation against him, he said that he had to attend to a rich merchant's order for a wedding ceremony in his family. The king asked the merchant's name. He was none other than the merchant whose wall had fallen. The merchant said that many years ago his father had ordered the jewelry, but his father was no more in this world. The king thought for some time and decided to punish the merchant in his father's place. A new stake was ordered to be made for the execution, but it was found that the merchant was too thin to fit the stake. The king ordered that a fat man would be searched to fit the stake. The king's soldiers caught hold of the disciple who had become fat after eating bananas, rice, wheat, and ghee. The disciple pleaded he was innocent, but all in vain. The king did not pay any heed to the disciple's request and ordered for his execution. As the disciple was waiting for his death, he prayed to his guru in his heart. The guru, who had magical powers, could see far, could see the future, the present, and also the past. The guru arrived at once to save his disciple. He whispered something in the disciple's ears. Then he requested the king to put him to death first. But when the disciple heard this, he said that he was brought there first and so should be put to death first. The king was surprised to see the fight between the guru and the disciple over the issue of who should be put to death first. The guru agreed to tell the reason only if the king promised to put him to death first. After the king's promise, the guru revealed that the stake was the stake of God's justice, and whoever is exiled first would be reborn as the king of that kingdom, and the one who dies next would be the minister. This puzzled the king. He did not want to give his kingdom to others in the next life. So he discussed this matter with his minister, and they both arrived at a conclusion that they should go onto the stake to be reborn as the king and the minister. That night they secretly went to the prison, released the guru and his disciple, disguised themselves as the two, and got themselves executed. The next morning, everyone was shocked to see their king and minister dead and were worried about the future of the kingdom. The people requested the Guru and his disciple to be their king and minister. They both agreed to rule the kingdom of the foolish king and his ministers. And from that day onwards, everything changed and people began to lead a normal life. With this, we come to the end of the summary of the story in the Kingdom of Fools. I hope this was helpful to you, children. Thank you.